Welcome to the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation's Youth and Families Leadership Grant-Making Model webinar. I'm Megan Briggs, the Director of Community Investments at the Community Foundation and the main point of contact for this grant opportunity. I've been at the Community Foundation since 2017 and oversee the foundation-directed grant-making. I'd also like to mention my coworker, Monique Saunders-Moreno, Assistant Director of Community Investments. She's the point of contact for all technical assistance questions, and she can be reached at monique@lvcfoundation.org. Today's webinar has three main sections. One is funder parameters and timeline. Section 2 is how to apply, and there are some new steps. Section 3 is how to ask questions and access the LVCF staff. Before I jump into the youth and families model, I first wanted to mention the LVCF's foundation-directed grant-making. We have three major focus areas. One is arts, culture, and creative economy, and we are a partner of the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. We redistribute state grant funding for arts organizations. Secondly is the youth and families focus area, which this webinar is about today. And lastly is our capacity building focus. Under that, we launched the Core Fellowship Program. The fellowship program will launch a new cycle and accept applications beginning in early February. So please keep tuned for more information regarding that Core Fellowship Program. For the youth and families grant opportunity, the funding structure is as follows. There is $180,000 available in this funding cycle. The grant amounts will range from $5,000 to $20,000, and all grants are planned to be general operating awards. The funding is available mostly through several different area of interest funds. These funds are basically funds in which the donor has said that they would like to support a particular area of focus, but haven't specified or named any organizations, which leaves it up to the Community Foundation to select organizations that best meet the fund's goals. Some of you have submitted separate applications for these funds in the past. That is no longer necessary. We only need one application for consideration of all these named funds. I also know that in the past, some of these funds had funded projects or programs, but we are now shifting support to general operating. The range on here is provided so that organizations can decide if it's worth your time and energy to complete an application in order to provide an expectation. The funding is provided by Edward and Inez Donley Fund, the Walter and Alma Bastian Fund, Robert D. and Gwendolyn Jane Romero Campership Fund, Lucille F. Driver Fund, and also support from Roger and Kathy Yatt. The goal statement for the youth and families funding is to grant flexible funding to organizations that provide comprehensive approaches in engaging youth and their families and seeking a pathway for meaningful life aspirations. Our priorities in the 2022 to 2023 cycle is on early childcare. Early childhood is one of the most critical periods of a child's development. 90% of the brain has developed by age 5. In addition to the importance of quality childcare for children and their families, quality childcare is a fundamental requirement of a vibrant, healthy community. Yet in the Lehigh Valley and across the country, there is a crisis occurring in early childhood education. And in the Lehigh Valley, there are simply not enough high-quality childcare centers for the number of children that need care in the Lehigh Valley. There has been 61 child care centers and 146 child care classrooms that have closed since 2020. Over 1,000 children have been impacted by these closures. This crisis state of early child care is impacting children, families, communities, and the entire region's economy. Therefore, the Community Foundation stated early child care as the main priority in this cycle. We'll be focusing on centers that are expanding the number of children that can be served in high quality early childhood centers. We'll be focusing on programs that address challenging behaviors and or diagnose mental health needs in children. That can either be through capacity building, a program that provides capacity building and equips childcare workers with necessary resources, or it can be a program and service that provides that care directly. Lastly, we'll also be providing grants for home visitation programs in which health and or early education professionals routinely visit the home to provide those care and services for children and their parents. In addition to those particular focus areas, we also prioritize organizations that are working towards systems change, so that are addressing, how to improve the crisis state of the sector, which includes working on improved regulations, funding, or policy for early child care providers. We also prioritize organizations that are guided by the community they serve. There's a slide after that explains more in detail what this phrase means to us. In addition, we prioritize learning organizations, which will also be broken down in the next slides. And then lastly, organizations that provide services for children that are most at risk for exiting the human services safety net. We wanted to offer this framework in order to better define guided by the communities that you serve for applicants. This graphic is called the Wheel of Participation. When we are looking to support organizations that are guided by the community they serve, what we are looking for is, in what ways is your organization influenced by community in the vision, values, and strategies that drive your work? There are different levels of community participation, which is detailed in the framework on the slide. And not all levels will be engaged with everything, but what we are looking for is what's your standard way of operating within your organization that takes into account community voice. So as you can see in this graphic, there are 4 sections: inform, consult, participate, and empower. Inform is a monthly newsletter, for example, that your organization puts out to your community. Consults could look like an annual survey that your organization distributes and then uses that feedback to influence programs and services. Participate could look like a community advisory body that has genuine control over decision making. Lastly, empower could look like your board members and leadership reflecting the community that you serve. So we'll be asking you to identify in what ways are you guided by the community you serve. And in addition, we also in this section allow space for organizations to detail any movements that they've had on their DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging strategies within their organization. We will also prioritize a learning organization, and we wanted to offer a definition for a learning organization as well. Ultimately, we're looking for organizations that operationalize a way that institutions can learn new information and share that information for continuous improvements. There are 5 main attributes for a learning organization, and those include systematic problem solving, experimentation, transferring knowledge, learning from others, learning from past experience. In the grant application, we'll ask you to give an example of how your organization institutes one of these 5 attributes. You can learn more about these 5 attributes in the actual grant application. There's a link that shares more information about each of these 5 attributes. We will also seek to prioritize organizations that serve children that are most at risk for exiting the human services safety net. Examples of that include, but are not limited to, immigrant families, LGBTQ plus families, single guardian household, foster care, very low income, children with disabilities, and children whose families have been involved in the criminal justice system. In order to be eligible, you must be a 501c3. You can apply through a fiscal sponsor. You must be delivering children's services in Lehigh and Northampton counties. Again, our definition is those that are 0 to 5. The evaluation criteria matches what our priorities are. So it's the area of focus, early childcare, population served, organization is guided by the community that they serve, that they're a learning organization, and that they're involved in systems change solutions. The timeline for grant making is as follows. The application window is open January 9th through February 27th. We will have a grant application drop-in virtual office hours on February 24th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The link for the Zoom for the virtual office hour is posted on our website in the Youth and Families section. You do not need to pre-register. This is a space where you can just join in order to access LVCF staff for any questions that you might be having as you are submitting your application. If you have questions before February 24th, you can reach out to the Community Foundation staff at any time via email, and we will respond as quickly as possible. You do not have to wait until this date to submit your questions. This is just an open session in case of questions that may come up as you're submitting on that following Monday by the due date of the February 27th. In March, evaluators will review the proposal, and April will send out notifications of the grant application status, and then towards the end of the calendar year, a report will be due. In order to apply, first, there is a preview copy of the application questions on our website, so you're able to review those without having to log into our grant application website. When you are ready to apply, you can apply on our grant application website, which is called Founded. You can find the links on the website. What is new this year is that organizations who wish to apply for this grant must complete an organizational profile form prior to the application. And so to access this organizational profile form, you log into Founded, you click the apply icon on your homepage, and you select the LVCF organizational profile form. I will show you how to do that right here, and we'll also then walk through the purpose and advantages of this form. All right, so when you're logged in to your Founded profile, then what you do in order to first access the organizational profile form is that you click this apply button at the top, and then you'll see this LVCF organizational profile form here. And you then click the apply button on the right side of the screen. And then you can go in here and fill this out prior to your Youth and Families grant application. I do also want to highlight that we are in this organizational profile form asking people to fill out demographic information on their candid profile. The Community Foundation hosted a 2-part demographic data collection workshop series in January to talk about the purpose of this and our partnership with Candid. You may reach out to the Community Foundation at megan@lvcfoundation.org if you would like more information about this demographic survey. After you have submitted this application, then you can go back to the apply page and then go in to apply for the youth and families opportunity. And I wanted to also note that on this page, the first question is if you've filled out that organizational profile form. Once you click yes, then the grant applications show up. And the grant applications are limited to 5 questions. And then you can submit that grant application for review. The purpose of this organizational profile form is for a couple reasons. By submitting the form, your organization will be able to ensure that the Community Foundation is aware of your organization's programs and services. We are utilizing this form in order to make sure that we capture all the different nonprofits that are operating in the Lehigh Valley. If you are not submitting an application at this time, you may still go ahead and submit your organizational profile form. It is not a requirement that you apply in order to submit this form. You can just also go in to make sure that the Community Foundation has your organization's information. You would also want to submit this form so that you can receive information from the Community Foundation on different relevant grant opportunities. And then lastly, it would also enable the Community Foundation to share your organization's information with LVCF's fund holders, if asked or when appropriate. We do not automatically share the information that's gathered on this form. It's only shared in instances where it's requested from fund holders or there is a direct relevant connection to your organization. So, once you've actually filled out the form, then you're also able to apply for the LVCF grant opportunities. By completing this form, you're able to update and save basic organizational profile and financial records for future funding consideration, which then saves time in applying to various LVCF grant applications. So instead of asking you the same basic organizational profile and financial questions on several or every single grant application, we moved it to just one form that you would fill out once and then update as you have new information to share. This also allows you to then opt in, as we said previously, to receive emails from the Community Foundation about different grant opportunities and partnership opportunities. Again, I want to note that you should submit a completed organizational profile form prior to submitting any grant applications to the Youth and Families Model or the Core Fellowship Program. I also wanted to go over how to submit videos as responses in the application. We did launch video and audio collection last year, but now we've improved the submission process so that it's much more user-friendly using flip.com. So right now I'm just going to give kind of a mini tutorial on how to submit videos. So when you're in the Youth and Families application, then you can see some instructions and basic notes about video recording. A couple things I want to point out. All applicants have the option to submit their answers to the questions as either written or video or voice recording. You should only submit one response to each question in either format. And you may choose to answer some of these questions in written text format and then other questions in the video or audio, and that is completely fine. Please do be mindful of the time limits that are listed in the questions when recording these responses. There are full instructions that you can see if you click on the link in the application, and you can basically record your responses by going to flip.com. So I'm going to show you briefly how to do this. One, you're going to note which question you're answering, the title here, so fun focus area. And you're also going to want to note the video or audio maximum length. So in this one, it's for 4 minutes. And you are going to click on the link to record your video or voice recording. And then this site will pop up, and you can either log in using your Microsoft account, your Google account, or your Apple account. If you don't have any of those, or if you just prefer to use the guest password, then you may, by submitting the guest password, which is listed in the application as capital L, capital V, capital C, capital F. So LVCF, as in Lehigh Valley Community Foundation 2023. And I'll show you that right here. So once you input that, you can push go, and it will take you to this site. If it doesn't automatically pop up, then you can add to the topic here, and then it will show me. And you can, either just record audio or video, whichever you'd like. And I'm just going to do a test so everyone can see how it works. And then once you're done, you can first you want to push the record button. So I push the record button, and now I'm testing for everybody in this webinar. Once you're done, then you click next. So once you're happy with it, then you click on the next button, and in the caption, you'll want to first list your organization. So as an example, I'm going to put Lehigh Valley Community Foundation because that's my organization. And then you're also going to put in which question you're responding to. So in this one, it would be fund focus area. So I'm going to do dash fund focus area. This will not be seen by anybody else except for the Community Foundation staff, and then also the grant application reviewers. So once you're done, please don't forget to click post to the topic, and that will upload your video, and then we'll be able to see it. So then you're going to want to go back here and just write in this area that video or audio has been recorded, and then move to the next one. And that's it. That's how you do video submissions for the Youth and Families grant application. So that is basically the end of our webinar. If you have questions about the granting parameters or how your organization might align with the priorities, you can reach out to me, Megan Briggs, at Megan, M-E-G-A-N, at lvcfoundation.org. I respond more quickly to emails, but you are also more than welcome to call me. If you have questions regarding technical assistance, which means you need help accessing the Found Insight, or you need assistance in submitting the videos or whatever it might be from a technical standpoint, then you can reach out to Monique Saunders Moreno at Monique, M-O-N-I-Q-U-E, at lvcfoundation.org. Thank you very much for listening to this webinar. We appreciate you as a funding and grant application partner, and appreciate all your work to support and serve the children and youth of the Lehigh Valley. Thank you.